Hey everybody, how's it going? It is Max with BuzzTox, and I'm here with another Game of Thrones Season 7 news video. These are the videos where I go on the Watchers on the Wall website and I give you guys my opinions and thoughts about these news stories. Let's get right into it. It looks like Daenerys is going to set up home base in her ancestral home, Dragonstone. Just in case you guys don't know, which I'm sure you do, Dragonstone is just east of King's Landing and an island in the middle of nowhere. It's been reported that they're filming in a place called Basque Country. And if you look at it, it is an island, and you could shoot it like it's in the middle of nowhere. Granted, it does need some CGI and some effects, but I think this is the perfect location for Daenerys to have her ancestral home and for her to visit. And to me personally, this news makes sense. It only makes sense to me that Daenerys would want to go to her home and visit where her family used to live. However, I don't think it's going to be a base of operations for Daenerys. I've actually been predicting that Daenerys is actually going to go west. She's going to travel through Dorne, through the Reach, through the Western Lands, and capture all of these regions before approaching Cersei. And from a strategy perspective, I don't think Dragonstone would make a good base of operations. It's very close to King's Landing that can be reached by sea, and they're in the middle of nowhere. I think that Daenerys isn't going to have a base of operations. It's going to be like Robb Stark in Season 2 and 3. He progressively moved towards King's Landing and then set up shop. He made a base and then kept moving forward. I think it's going to be the same with Daenerys, and she's going to capture all the regions and then go and attack Cersei. However, I think Dragonstone is going to be a place where Daenerys can go and just be with her thoughts. I think she's going to take routine trips with Drogon to go to her ancestral homeland and just kind of think and be with her thoughts and just kind of mull things over. And we got even more news on Daenerys. So there was a set recently that I was debating on what it was, but it's looking more like it is actually the Dragon Pit in King's Landing. Now there have been set leaks that they're going to be shooting at this site, and there's going to be Daenerys and a lot of other people in this scene. Now I think we won't see this scene until the end of the season. It'll be in the last episode where everyone gets together and they hold a conference or something, or you see Daenerys put away her dragons, kind of claiming her ownership over King's Landing. And in this scene, we'll have the typical Missandei, Grey Worm, Tyrion, all of her allies. But there's also been a leak that there could be Davos Seaworth and Brienne of Tarth. And this leak holds even more validity since Davos Seaworth, Liam Cunningham the actor, was actually spotted with Tyrion Lannister himself on a set in Spain. Now, I never thought of the idea of Davos and Brienne going south and actually talking terms with Daenerys. But in a sense, it actually makes a lot of sense. You have Brienne protecting Davos, and Davos speaks for the King in the North, Jon Snow. And then you also have Brienne of Tarth, who speaks for Sansa Stark. I think Brienne of Tarth would be a great protector over Davos, and I think it's an interesting chemistry there since they have a bad history. Brienne killed Stannis, the person who Davos actually supported. So I think that's interesting, but it got me thinking. How would Brienne of Tarth and Davos know to leave Winterfell and go negotiate with King's Landing? That would mean Jon and Sansa would have to have insight or foresight into sending them down there because they would know that Daenerys would take King's Landing. And another leak comes into play here, and it plays into a prediction that I made a while back. A new leak came out that Theon Greyjoy will be reuniting with Jon Snow. However, this leak said something kind of surprising. They said that they won't be meeting in the north. They said that they'd be meeting further south. And Jon would actually be traveling, and in his travels, he would meet Theon. So I think this is false for a couple reasons. One, I don't think Jon would ever leave Winterfell in this time. Winter has just come. He knows about the threat of the White Walkers, and he finally settled his home. Jon is not going to leave Winterfell. There must always be a Stark in Winterfell. Unless he leaves Sansa, which I highly doubt. I think what we're going to see here is definitely along the lines of what I predicted, I think. I think Daenerys in the first episode or second episode is going to send Theon east along the coast on a ship to Winterfell to negotiate terms with Jon and Sansa. And I think they will talk terms, and they're going to be writing letters back and forth, and Jon in advance is going to send Brienne and Davos south to talk terms with Daenerys herself. But I just want to quickly look at the other angle, even though I don't really believe in it. Why would Jon come south? This plays on a thought that I've been talking about in my predictions videos, and that is, what kind of story are we going to have in Game of Thrones? Are we going to have the fight for Winterfell, or are we going to have the fight for King's Landing? In Season 7, I highly doubt this will happen, but White Walkers could break through the wall and capture Winterfell, and Jon will be forced to flee south. And then Season 8 would be kind of like survival. It would be like The Walking Dead. So I think that's an interesting concept. However, I totally disagree. I think the wall will come down at the end of Season 7, which will allow the White Walkers to come in. And I think the show will end at the wall and at Winterfell. But speaking of the wall, we have one more leak. Isaac Hempston Wright, who plays Bran, filmed a scene with Dolorous Edd, who is the new Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. And this leak has even more validity because Ben Crompton, who's the actor who plays Dolorous Edd, had an interview and he did confirm that he is going to return to Game of Thrones Season 7. So this confirms a lot of things for me. 1, Bran is actually going to make the move and come south of the wall. And 2, it brings more validity to the fact that Bran may actually reunite with Jon and Sansa in this season at the end of Season 7. I personally think that Bran will actually only be in 3 or 4 episodes, and I think he's going to be at the Weirwood Tree most of the time. We're going to get flashbacks like Harrenhal and many other things, and then he's going to get a flash of danger from the Night's King, and he's going to have to leave his post. And I think this is going to be episode 6, and I think he's going to flee, and he's going to come to the wall, and he's going to go through, and he's going to meet Dolorous Edd. Now, the mark on his arm will have 1 or 2 effects. 1, the wall completely comes down when Bran passes through it, because magic holds up the wall as well as keeps the White Walkers out. Or 2, it just destroys the magic and leaves the wall standing, which allows the Night's King to knock it down or just pass through. But no matter what the scenario, I think it will result in Dolorous Edd having to take Bran and escort him to Winterfell, because there's a sense of danger. So I think you're going to see Dolorous Edd actually be at Winterfell as the new Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. But that's all the news for this week, everyone. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know your opinions on what you think is going to happen. Let me know what leaks you think are legitimate and what leaks are false. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you guys later.